everybody. Bishop Lisa Weah here. Good evening. It is Wednesday. It's about 6:30-ish, which means you know what time it is. It's time for Pastor's Power Session. And tonight is a special session. Tonight is a singles edition of Let's Get Back to Love. I'm so excited tonight. Our theme for this year at the MBBC is Released to Reign. Released to Reign. And so this month, we're focusing on being released to reign in our relationship. So tonight is Let's Get Back to Love Singles Edition. On next Wednesday, we will do Let's Get Back to Love Couples Edition. Both editions, we'll be talking about being released from people, places, things, unforgiveness from our past, from our issues, so that we can be empowered and reign in our boundaries, in discerning boundaries, discerning people, creating safe spaces, released to reign in our vulnerability, released to reign in our connections with others. Be it as singles, be it as couples. But I wanted to invite someone who is very near and dear, not just to my heart, but to the heart of the New Bethlehem Baptist Church. He has shared with us so many times and has become a very, very dear person to all of us. He's joining us all the way from Jacksonville, Florida tonight, and we're going to have a very engaging dialogue. So make sure you share this. Tell some single folk to get on and hit like. And also, if you have questions for us, put them in the chat tonight because we really want to talk with you. Can you please help me welcome and put your praise hands and clap hands in the chat as he comes on? Pastor Antonio Matthews is with us tonight. Man, thank you so much for joining us.
Bishop, listen, you got me off sabbatical. You got me. I've been on a social media hiatus for the last few months, and I told them I wasn't coming back until May.
Okay.
And you got me off of sabbatical tonight. You see what you do for the people that you love, and what you do for the people who you can't tell no to. And so my people, they have not seen me in months. They have
Oh
not
my.
seen me. Um, yeah, except for preaching, they have not seen me live in months, probably since last August or September. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I haven't been live or done anything via social media. So Raynell is here. Good to see you. So yeah, only you can get me moving and going at this place right here. But it's okay though. It's okay. I
Wow.
don't mind. Yeah.
All right. Well, I see they're on here and they're greeting, they're clapping, they are celebrating. Look, everybody, can you tell us where you are? Tell us what city you're in tonight. Tell us if you're home, if you're at work. Shout us out because we want to make sure. Oh, wow. Look at all the love. Wonderful, wonderful. MBBC is on. We have people from all over the country on tonight. Folks shouting out all the way from Denver. Good to see y'all tonight.
Yeah,
What great
that's my
support.
it's my Denver family. Yay, yay.
Yeah.
Chris, Raynell, what's up? Anisha's here.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah, they haven't
Ooh.
seen
They
me
said
live.
it's cold out there.
I'm
Oh,
sure.
I bet it is. Because we just got
Yeah,
snow. Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay. Yep.
yeah. So
Oh, wait a minute. We got Bay
Shirley is
Area
here.
Cali on here tonight.
Okay.
Jacksonville.
I got some Jacksonville family here. What?
Yeah. Sabrina. Hey, Sabrina.
Yo, what's up?
All
I see
right.
Shirley's here, Chris is here, Raynell is here.
All
Man,
right.
y'all go ahead and share it up. because
This is great.
because once I get off this live, I'm going back in dark mode. So
All right. Minister Hope
so
says she's out in these streets of Bmore. All right now.
oh my
Well,
God.
we are excited. Again, this is singles edition tonight. Um, we are going to do couples edition next week, but Valentine's Day is Friday, and
Is it
so
really?
yes, it's this Friday.
Why are you
Yes.
laughing?
Make sure you send your baby girl something. I know she's waiting for her
Oh, listen,
Valentine's from her daddy.
she is definitely already sent me her list.
All
So
right.
you know she's spoiled. So
Okay.
she get whatever she want.
And
It's
rightfully
all good.
so, cause you're a girl dad.
I am a girl dad.
A
I
girl
am.
dad. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So so often Valentine's we focus on the couples. And so that's why I said we're gonna do the singles edition this week. And do the couples next week because they boot up every week, or they're supposed to be because they're
I'm
couples.
about to say, yeah,
Mhm.
there are some that are not booed up. Unfortunately, there are some who are unfortunately miserable and don't know how to get out.
Oh,
And my prayer is for them consistently, because everybody at some particular point in time in their life
yeah.
should experience some level of relational happiness
Yeah. Yeah.
and relational joy. And I am anticipating that particular
Mhm.
day, where we can say, yes, we are happy relationally. Everybody
Everybody.
deserves some sort of relational happiness.
Yeah.
Uh, somebody put in there said, I'm not supposed to be miserable my whole relationship life. I'm not supposed to be miserable my whole life. I
Yeah.
am.
Matter of fact, somebody put in the chat, type this and declare it. I deserve to be happy.
Yeah, I deserve to be happy. I do.
Fulfilled. Yeah.
All of that. All of that. And
Mhm.
that's what we're
Yeah.
going to get into tonight. That's what we're going to
I'm
get
excited.
into.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So we really have, because we don't have much time. I know they're gonna ask you to come back and do part two. So you have to promise you're gonna come back and do part two. But
On what?
but
On
here,
live? Listen,
yeah,
after
yeah.
May,
All right,
right?
we'll wait till
After,
after May. We'll wait till your sabbatical's over. Yeah. Uh-huh. So look, somebody said, not my whole life. That's right. I deserve to be happy and fulfilled. Thank you. Thank you.
Amen.
So y'all better keep declaring it.
And
So
I want a disclaimer tonight. Tonight I'm going, because I have not done a live. God has been doing some real healing in me. I think, Bishop, that whenever someone disappears or goes dark or takes a sabbatical, and they come back the same way, um, then the sabbatical or the time away benefited nothing. I
right,
think when you take the time to step away, you should take the time for reasons of healing, for reasons to fall back in love with who you are authentically, to fall back in love with God, and to really come back out different than when you went in. And this tonight is going to be a transparent moment of ministry for me tonight, because while I have not been seen, we have been doing the therapeutic work, the internal work, the healing work, so that we can be better for the people that we are called and destined to serve in this day and time. So I'm excited to share from a level of vulnerability tonight that I probably have not shared in a while. And so and prayerfully, somebody is healed from every space and hurt and pain and trauma, and ready to embrace what's next, because there is a next
next.
for all of us.
Mhm. And I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that because one of the things, and I haven't gotten into, what we said we're gonna talk about yet, but one of the things that holds people back, I think, from really being released to reign relationally, um, is that They're afraid to be vulnerable because of things that have happened. And
Mm-hmm.
so, we go into that place where we become emotionally unavailable. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're physically present, but emotionally unavailable. And you
Mm-hmm.
cannot find fulfillment in a relationship with someone else if you're holding back who you are. And so this is
Man.
going to be very helpful for so many people. And then another thing, just off of what you just said, is a lot of times we go through things. And, I've been in a season of going through successive grief and things like that. When we're in these tough seasons, we don't know how or we don't give ourselves permission to step back, like you're saying, and
Mm-hmm.
go off the grid for a minute so that
Mm-hmm.
we can reconnect with who we are and become healthy. And instead, we try to keep going and connect with people from an unhealthy place and then wonder why it doesn't work out.
Well, you said a mouthful. So let me say this, and prayerfully everybody has shared this, and prayerfully everybody can put what personally impacts them in the comment section. If Bishop or myself speaks directly to you, put it in the comment section. Get some engagement going. Well, Bishop, many of us, number one, we've been operating, myself included, out of this misconception of love. And that particular misconception of love has been a conduit for many broken people and broken relationships in our world, because that particular misconception causes, or that particular misconception causes us to attempt to love from many places of brokenness. And when I love from many places of brokenness and I engage or try to love, personally speaking, from that place, it ends up resulting in a relationship or in a space where I am guarded, I am self protective, and I am cut off from the needed authenticity and vulnerability in relationships. So I become, my partner is supposed to cover me and I'm supposed to cover my partner. However, I become my own protector. I become my own shield while I'm still trying to give love to somebody else, while not allowing them to love me authentically.
Yeah.
And this alleviates the other person from the responsibility and the accountability of love. Now, here's what's crazy. I was reading something today in First Peter, and I'm gonna give you this example. In First Peter chapter 4, verse 8, it says the responsibility of love is to cover. It says love covers a multitude of sins. And
Mhm.
the word sin talks about missing the mark, whether in the relationship, missing the mark in various spaces, or when I'm falling short. And the question is, do I trust somebody else to love the worst of me when
Mm.
I can't even love the worst of me?
Wow.
And so this particular missing of the mark, this conveys the idea, watch this, where I'll miss the standard and I'll try and do for me what I should be vulnerable enough to allow somebody else to do.
Mm.
And it's almost like this. So I begin to love, and I'm telling you, this is me
Mhm.
historically, relationally. This is me. I begin to love out of the areas of my brokenness, not out of the fluidity of my wholeness.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm gonna give you this. Let me see how I was reading something today, and I read a story of a man was with his significant other. They had just started dating, and so they was giddy and happy and all this other stuff that beginning relationships do. And so his lady said, "I'm thirsty." And so he gave his lady a glass of water, but he did not realize that the glass had been broken,
Mm.
and pieces of the glass was inside the glass, inside the water, and even the rim was even cracked. And so the lady, his woman, the recipient, she was parched, she was thirsty, needing the water. And when he gave it to her, she was so eager to drink it, to quench her thirst. And she accepts this action of love out of sincerity, only to swallow glass
Yes.
and be cut and injured by the jagged edges of the fractured vessel. Now, he didn't tell her that it was broken. He probably didn't know it, but he didn't tell her that it was broken. He didn't examine to see if it was broken. She didn't know her receiving of it was innocent, but she got broken from an innocent gesture from a glass that was broken. Now here it is. Similarly, when individuals offer love without addressing their own brokenness, without addressing their own unresolved issues, can inadvertently cause harm to those they are intended and supposed to nurture.
Mm. Yeah.
And so the very acts that we do that are to provide sustenance and connection
Mm-hmm.
inflicts pain because I'm loving you out of a space that has not been repaired.
Weird.
And many of us shun the process that it takes for us to come to a place of repair. And we think, oh, we just want the relationship or we just want the love. How about loving, getting back to loving you and loving God enough to do the work of healing so that you don't inadvertently shatter, break, destroy, hurt somebody else who's receiving from you so innocently? You feel me? And so I can't get back to love being somebody else until I'm willing to endure the process that it takes to get back to being able to love me and to love the original that God made me.
That's so powerful. Um, I'm reminded of something that Kirk Franklin said
Hmm.
in his documentary, well, on himself with his dad.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
said, I've been broken so long, I don't know who I am healed. And
Mm, mm,
and and the
wow,
caution, that it speaks to this moment is, so
wow.
you're not, if you're not doing the work of healing, then
Hmm.
you connect with somebody who may be healed and you end up, hurting them. They don't know who you are because
Right.
you don't know who you are, because the
Hmm.
broken person is not who God created you to be.
Hmm.
Or worse yet, how married couples always say, "This is my better half," right? And I always tell folks when I'm doing counseling, I'm like, you don't want to marry half a person. Like, you want to
Hmm.
marry somebody who's whole and complete within themselves. The mystery of two becoming one is that it was two wholes becoming one, not that it was
Hmm.
two halves becoming one. But we go around, like you said, as fractured people, as half
Mm.
of who we are, half of who we're supposed to be, and then connect with somebody and then wonder why it doesn't work out. And I speak from experience because I've been there. I've done all the things I'm talking about. We 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 find
I,
ourselves, 5 7
yeah.
years down the road. It's like, this ain't working. What in the world
Mhm.
did I do? And I did it because I didn't know who I was, and
Mhm.
didn't bring a whole person to the table in the first place. But then here's the
Mhm.
other thing. Here's the other thing we do. Now let's dive on this one. We didn't get to what we were planning to talk about yet. But look, if if you are a person who needs to be needed, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be drawn to people who aren't healed. You're going to be
Mm-hmm.
drawn to needy people. And as long as so what did I say? I like to say some people are drawn to projects and not people.
Mm.
And so
Wow.
as long as the person is a project, then the relationship will work. But
Mm.
if that person gets healed, then it falls apart. So either you have to continue being hurt in order to keep that person
Mm-hmm.
because they were only with you because you need them,
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to be vice versa. You're going to perpetuate that person being unhealed because
Mm-hmm.
the whole relationship for you was based on them needing you.
My professor said something so amazing. He says, we are drawn to what's in us that we refuse to address in us.
Ah,
Hence, we perpetuate it externally from us. So the need or the neediness that which we are drawn to is actually the neediness in us
in
that
us.
we have not worked out. So hence, so let me tell you what's crazy. So me, you know, I loved from a place where if let me see, how can I be as transparent as possible? I loved from a guarded place because every time I let somebody close to me, it didn't end up in a way where I should in the way I should have trusted them. So I've always been hurt and broken, and rather than understanding that I was continuously being hurt and broken from abandonment issues that I had not dealt with from a child, that my therapist had to take and dig up, that my therapist had to really do the internal work with me to see, hey, Matthews, you got abandonment issues. So here is how you love. Whenever somebody you deem close or somebody you love seems to getting ready to walk away or seems to threaten you with moments of walking away, you acquiesce to whatever demand it is they set forth,
Mm.
and then you end up in lack while they are receiving
Wow.
whatever it is they desired. He
Wow.
says, so if you don't deal with your abandonment issues, you'll always be broken in relationship. And
Yeah.
so this is why I look at all the relationships that I caused the damage in. It was because, hear me, I was operating out of a mentality, I'm gonna get you before you get me.
Ah,
I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me.
yeah, yeah.
So if I don't heal from that mentality, anytime I see a threat or
Mm-hmm.
somebody threatens me with abandonment or somebody threatens me with their absence, I would in turn ensure that they understood that their absence really didn't bother me when in essence it did,
It did.
because I was loving and operating. So I got cold. I got nonchalant. I was operating out of that place of brokenness. And so most of the relationships I've been in, and I can say this transparently now from a healed place,
Right.
most of the relationships I've been in were messed up because of me. I was the one that was shattered and had major expectations of them, but I had zero expectations of me.
Of you.
And this is why I tell people they need therapy, because a good therapist will help you work through all of those things and
Mm-hmm.
find comfort in the authentic you. So this year, 2025, I
Mm-hmm.
wrote a letter to myself.
Ah,
And
good.
here's what's crazy, Bishop. This is the first time it's even getting out public. I hadn't even been online. Nobody has heard the letter. Nobody has read the letter. I wrote the letter to myself. Here's some things that was in the letter. Last year, this relentless, unyielding year was nothing short of a mirror reflecting every corner of my flawed humanity, every flaw, every dysfunction that I worked so hard to conceal. Antonio, this year was evident of your ability to disappoint God and embarrass him in many ways. It was
Mm.
a year of struggle. It was a year of sin, selfishness, self centeredness, self sabotage. However, I'm not the victim because everything that happened and occurred to me over the last few years, relationally or whatever, I could have prevented in some way or another. But that year caused me to see who I really was and what I really was. Watch this. And I was not who I portrayed in most cases because my internal dysfunctions screamed louder than my external projections. And
Wow.
I, God, take full accountability. So the agony I experienced, the embarrassment I experienced, and the shame that I experienced was totally on me. However, this year, I operate from a healed place, from a place that is intentional about relationships, a place where I constantly look in the mirror, not blame anyone, to see how I can grow from the cave that Elijah was in of self
Ah,
debilitating behavior.
ah,
Man, and so
oh, this is some good stuff.
I
Wait a minute,
walked
I
in.
need everybody put this in the chat. This year, I operate from a healed place. Come on, everybody type this. This
Listen,
year, I operate from a man.
let me tell
Oh,
you, I wrote that letter, and this is the first time. I don't know if we're gonna keep this up. This is the first time that letter has seen the light of day or anybody, and that wasn't even. That was probably one paragraph. The letter was probably 5 to 6 paragraphs long that I wrote in to me saying I will never operate in self-debilitating, self-crippling behavior. This year, I will not operate from a place of brokenness, from a place of envy, from a place of strife, from a place of opinionated people pleasing. This year, I will operate. Watch this, because now in dealings, because I heard somebody ask the question, how do you begin the self work? I think Anisha asked that question. It begins with understanding and recognizing that you were the cause of your self debilitating behavior. And when you refuse to blame anybody. Let me be a
ooh.
little bit more transparent. I don't know if they're ready for it. Every rumor that has started, that every rumor that was started on me, come here, Lisa. Every rumor that was started on me, I said to myself, you know what? I don't care what they said. It's my fault. Why? Because I should not have let people get into a space close enough to even say that stuff. I don't care what they said. It's on me. So I'm not a victim. I'm not nothing else. It is me. And I promise you, the boundaries and the ways now that I am moving forward, I will not create a space where I am self sabotaging and being self debilitating to the own progress of the promise that God has placed upon my life. Now I can be in relationship with all clarity and understand. And this is why now in relationship, if I see behaviors that reflect who I used to be, I've got to be able to date somebody I can call it out and say, hey, baby, listen, I know what I'm seeing. I used to be that person. So I know I know what you are projecting. Hear me. Even if you don't see it, watch this, because I didn't see it until it started hurting me.
Mm-hmm,
As
mm-hmm.
long as it was hurting other people, I didn't see it. When it really started affecting and hurting progress,
Yeah,
and when
yeah.
it really started affecting purses and pocketbooks and income, and when it started affecting people that I was called to serve, I was like, hold up, it ain't them, it's me. So
Mm-hmm.
now I can see it and be like, yo, I know what that looks like. Let's get a hold on that. Because no, so I wrote that letter to myself. Me and God wrote
But
that
see,
letter.
here's the thing. In order to write that letter, you had to have the courage to go
Oh,
into that deep place. And
absolutely.
and we are so afraid of that deep place. You mentioned Elijah and the cave,
Hmm.
and God brings us through seasons where we're alone. It's a lot of people in relationships and alone, but especially if you're single, then
Hmm.
you're in a powerful season
Right.
where you have this space to be alone with God, and we try to fill it unhealthily with people instead of embracing the opportunity that God has given us to go into that deep place. We're afraid of sitting in the deep place. We're running from
My
ourselves. I always tell people, it doesn't matter where you run to, you're always going to be there.
my Bible muse for this year. Seriously, you're gonna think. And I took and I suggested this to God in prayer. I don't tell God what to do, but I suggested this to Him in prayer. I said, God, if for the year, can I preach on the Bible character that in this season best reflects me? And He already knew who it was, and he said who? I said Yaakov. I said Jacob. I said because every one of us walks with an Israel inside of us, but Israel cannot come forth until Jacob is dealt with. And one of the most prevalent pieces of that particular scripture, before we get to the wrestle, before we get to Jacob wrestling with God, before we get to Jacob walking with a limp, before we get to all the other nuances, one of the greatest aspects of that scripture is when it says, and Jacob was left alone. There is no significant transformation that can take place without the promise, the intentionality, and the permission to give yourself time to be alone. I went on sabbaticals. I didn't take phone. Listen, give if you, it scares me, a person that cannot be alone scares me. Why?
Yes.
Because that's a person who has not come to know and fall in love with themselves. That's a person who has not come to the place of intimacy with God that's needed for next level transformation. And that's a person who will always live in potential and not production.
Yes. Oh,
Do-
that's
do- do
good.
you know- That's a person, you will always have the potential to be something great. Come here. Even if, watch this. I said, God, you blessed me to preach in over 35 countries. I've been around the world, Lisa. I've preached in front of some amazing people. And the Lord said to me, you did all of that, stupid, undisciplined, and arrogant, egotistical. He says, what you think I can do with you if you were disciplined?
Yes.
What you think I can do with you if you had a wife that brought favor walking beside you?
Mm.
He says, you accomplished so much in your time on the earth, and you did it covered in grace, experiencing my mercy every day. He
Wow.
says, what do you think, Tone, I would have done for you
Yes.
if you really sold out for me?
Oh,
What do you think you could do? Watch this. And here's the revelation. Somebody said, "Ouch, Montre, let me tell you what he said to me." He said, you went around the world, you preached on some of the most major stages. You got some amazing friends, including, I know Bishop Lisa Weah. That's like, she's famous to me. Y'all don't even understand. I, I have some amazing people in my life. And here's what the Lord said to me. And if this resonates with anybody, just put this in the chat, put something in the chat like, ouch, oh, that's me. He said, Antonio, this is what the Lord said to me. You did all of that as Jacob.
ooh, wow. Wow.
He
Wow.
says, You did all of that as Jacob.
Jacob.
What you think if you had allowed me to send you through the process of you sitting by yourself, getting really consecrated, not gifted, but getting really he says, man, you were operating with major revelation. I had a prayer life. He said, but you were operating with major revelation. You were operating in prophetic ministry. You were telling people what they did last night and calling addresses and speaking into the as Jacob. What you think I can do with you, Matthews?
Mm.
If you sit down, consecrate yourself really, commit yourself really to me. Come off social media, lock into your assignments, and come back out as Israel. The people that saw you go in as Jacob. But when you come out as Israel. What do you think I'll do with you? What do you think I will do? I will set up your wife to walk beside. Watch this. He said to me, your wife is not anointed to walk beside Jacob.
Oh,
Okay,
uh,
y'all, this is too much for. He says,
we can't
I
run on
anointed you.
that because we on
He
the
said,
screen.
he
Oh
said,
my
he said,
God.
I anointed your wife, Matthews, to walk beside Israel.
Israel.
He
Oh,
says, and this is why sometimes relationally you get into clashes because your wife can subconsciously see an Israel, but you still clinging to Jacob. Y'all ain't talking back to me tonight. Ain't he says, so Tone, this year, this year.
look, Chris running for me. Run, Chris. Run.
He said, this year, that letter, read that letter. I read that letter once a week, every Monday, to ensure that my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday I'm not creating sabotage to myself. That I am not perpetuating Jacob. I'm allowing God to do a work in Israel. So Israel and Jacob was left alone. And many of us can't get back to love
Mm.
because we won't let God do the work in us that requires us to be alone.
Now, let me push this
You gonna
because
push me further? Okay.
yeah, I gotta push. I gotta push because hmm,
That's my mother. You see my mother? What
I
she said?
see, I see. Um, hello, Mother Matthews. So, okay, you talked about identifying the Jacob in us and recognizing that God is calling forth the Israel, and it's the Israel, the person that's no longer just potential and operating by you did that by grace, but now you're actually walking in the fullness of all of it. um
Mm-hmm.
do we tend to look for people, talking relationally as singles, do we tend to look for people who will settle for Jacob so that we can rest in the comfort of not having to do the work?
Oh my God. I, let me see. I wrote something. Oh man, because you are living out the essence of what it is. What it is I wrote. Um, we have this grave tendency. Watch this. And I'm getting back to this whole Jacob Israel. God said to their mother at the time of birth, in the womb, I've already anointed Jacob to be the leader. I've anointed Jacob to lead. Esau, the younger, the older, will serve the younger. Whatever happened in the community of Jacob's upbringing perpetuated the narrative of Jacob's life that caused him to be who he was. And it took an encounter with God for him to shift into whomever God was called to be. Until we wake up to that essence, we always choose people that perpetuate the narrative, watch this, of who we enjoy being, knowing that there's an internal wrestle, that there is more in us. But we look for people, and this is the challenge of getting a woman or getting a partner who can see you, who can see you. Because if you have somebody who can see you, they can see beyond your foolishness and they can see beyond the narrative that you are perpetuating and start speaking into who you are to become.
Mm.
Many times we choose people from our place of brokenness. God help my life. We choose people from our place of brokenness who we can control to ensure they keep us perpetuating that narrative.
Mm.
So if you challenge me on something, then you out of order, then I'm gonna replace you. If you challenge me on a behavior that you know I'm better than,
Mm.
then I'm gonna replace you because we're gonna always use this line. Don't challenge me in areas I didn't give you permission to challenge me because I can replace you with somebody who will perpetuate the narrative. We always watch this. You can tell somebody who is threatened by those who challenge because they threaten with replacement. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I know. So you better tell me what I want to hear. Matthews, is this too transparent for anybody? You better tell me what I want to hear. Because if you don't tell me what I want to hear, then I'll find somebody who will tell me
Will.
what I want to hear.
Uh-huh.
But man, when you have a relationship with God and God comes to you in the middle of the night or whenever he comes to you, and God reminds you of who you are, and God reminds you of who he made you to be, he'll start sending people to speak to who he made, not to who you perpetuate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when he starts sending people to speak to that God, to that person, to that future, to that Israel in you, it puts you in a posture, in a place where you submit to this process. And now you're like, yo, I need that level of challenge in my life. Broken people will always, and I'm trying to find that thing I wrote. Broken people will always search for people to perpetuate a narrative so they don't have to walk in healing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
man, this is why I say you've got to be willing to love somebody and allow them to love you and cover. Love
Yeah. Yeah. Covers.
covers. Love covers. Find somebody who can cover. Hear me. And I asked this question in my notes. If the person you so called love, man, I don't know why I'm about to cry. If the person you so called love continues to be protected by you from the worst of you, then they are a person you don't trust to cover you.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
you stay committed in a space that cannot cover you, you'll end up being food eaten by prey because you never shared with anybody, especially the closest person to you, your most vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses. Can I share with you the worst of Antonio? Not the worst of Pastor Matthews, because the worst of Antonio is no. Can I share with you the worst of Antonio?
Mm-hmm.
And you still love Antonio as if you knew nothing about him. That's the kind of love that God is calling for in marriages. Can I know the worst about you? Can I know the worst about you and still cover you? As I ain't talking about illegal stuff. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about can I know the worst of you, your
Uh-huh.
worst mistake that's not going to wind you up in jail. And can I know the worst of you and still believe in the best of you? That's the question.
And
Because
so,
if I can't, then I'm going to be hiding in this relationship, and
mm-hmm,
I'm gonna be
mm-hmm,
hiding.
yeah.
And I'm like, I don't trust you to know that about me and think you still gonna stay with me. Ooh,
And
okay. All
so,
right, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
and
Bishop.
we're almost out of time. Like we got like 2 more minutes to talk, and
How many more
we got to
minutes?
pray. I can't believe this went by so fast. But I was gonna say, like, if someone is looking for, to be in that kind of relationship, it always starts with, the date. On the date, you're presenting your best self to that person. And there's going to be a period of presenting your best self to that person. So you show the worst of
Mm-mm,
you too fast,
mm-mm.
or no, I'm just saying things people do. People do.
Oh, okay.
They're presenting the best of them, and they never get to that point of transparency, and then people marry and don't know each other, or they roll out the worst too fast and throw too much at somebody and scare them away and never get to that point. So because somebody's on here wondering now, how do I get to that place of intimacy where I can share that person? Somebody said laughable, never even get to, yeah, because we've seen these little clips on internet where somebody
Mm-hmm.
goes out on the first date and they just tell everything they've ever done, too fast. And it's like, whoa, we just having a burger and fries. Like, I don't need to know all that on this first or even second date. So people really are looking for, I want to get to, dun, 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 and they either rush and do too much, or they hold back forever because they're afraid that yes, intimacy violation. That's good, Kathy. Or they hold back forever and end up doing the da 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 with somebody they don't even know. So I mean, we're out of time. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Here, let me give you this. A healed person knows how to be transparent and authentic without giving up the farm. Because now you operate out of a space where you can tell through inquisition and even connection whether you're wasting your time or not. Um, Now you can really sense, is this some, because before I can love you, I at least got to like you. And so now I've got to ask myself the question, do I even like this person? Because we get to this place, and I didn't even get to the revelation of, and the two shall become one,
Mm-hmm.
because that whole, you don't become one on the date of marriage. Becoming one takes time. And
Mm-hmm.
people assume that when I marry you or when you marry them, you are become one. No, you are not one yet, you are becoming one.
Becoming.
Whether that takes 5 years, 10 years, that word becoming is progressive. It means that I have the grace to see you at your worst while we are becoming our best. It is we are becoming one. And a lot of times people they don't have the patience to become. They have the rush for the marriage, but they have the rush for the wedding, but they don't have the patience for the marriage. Matthews, that's a bar. I'll repeat that.
That's right there.
They
That's right
they
there.
they have the rush for the wedding,
The wedding.
but they don't have the patience for the marriage.
For the marriage.
Hence why we're seeing marriages end after a year or two. No, we in this to become one. We in this to become so, see this kind of teaching. They're gonna try to get me out here every week. Tell Kathy and them, no. I'm going back in hiding, y'all. And so we are becoming one. So now I've got to understand and ask myself the question: do I even like you enough to want to share with you my most vulnerable? Do I even like you? Do we have fun? Did I laugh with you? Do we engage in fun? Can we be crazy? Can we be silly? Can I be silly? Watch this. I love dark humor. My mother says she's waiting for that day. Mom, go back to sleep. Tell my mama go back to sleep. I like dark humor, so
She's
I'm a little
calling forth
sarcastic.
Israel from you.
Yeah, I like to be sarcastic. So can I be my sarcastic self and you knowing I'm being sarcastically funny
Hmm.
without you getting offended? So do we even like each other? And so it takes the ability to enjoy a person's company and be able to discern if this is somebody I even desire to get connected with. But hear me, we're gonna pray because I know Bishop is Baptist, so
So
we
wait a minute, wait a minute. I
time.
gotta throw this out here though, because we're
Okay,
already over time. So just give one short answer. This is not a short answer issue I'm about to throw into this,
but you want me to give a short answer for it?
but you have to, it has to be addressed, because part of the reason that we don't do that is because we think we're falling in love and we're really falling in lust.
You gonna throw that out there and just
Yeah,
just
I know it's not a short answer thing, but this whole, do I have what it takes to go to distance with this person? Do I even like this person? Da, da, da. Sure, you think you like this person, but it's really you're attracted to this person and you're falling in
well,
lust with this person
the
and not
attraction is
authentically in love with this person. Although, I mean, attraction is necessary, but what I'm saying,
necessary, very necessary.
we have, yeah, it's very necessary, and I think that's one thing that we don't
Hmm.
recognize, in Christian connections. You want to be attracted to your partner, to your spouse, but here's the
Hmm.
thing: there's got to be more to it that's developing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so you really gonna throw that out me and then ask me to pray. I
Yeah, you
think
end on that and then pray for the people. Thank you.
dating and getting to know what you like is a prerequisite. Attraction is necessary. I'm not even going to talk to you if I'm not attracted to you. I'm not even going to, if there is nothing at, pulling me towards, if I see you, I'm not even gonna put myself in that position. Attraction is a must, but attraction in maturity can't be the main thing because I can be attracted to you. There's plenty of people I was attracted to, and after they opened their mouth, I couldn't stand them.
Oh,
They were attractive, but they were not articulate. They were beautiful, but they were not brilliant. And so you've got to be able to be patient enough to know what you like without allowing what you like to override what you can't put up with. That's another bar. Because I gotta know what I like, but I can't like it enough to make me ignore what I don't like. And this is what I'm gonna drop right here because I know we gotta go. I tell singles in the times where I speak, you gotta know what you want and what you like just as much as you know what you don't want and what you don't like. And you cannot allow one to outweigh the other. So if I see you, I like you, but you have 8 out of the 10 red flags, but you're beautiful. I'm ignoring the red flags for your beauty. Nah, you setting yourself up. So just because you got 5 of what I like, if you have 20 of what I don't like, I can't let the immaturity cause me to choose you, knowing you ain't who I really want because you don't. Okay, so you got to have the maturity to understand you have what I like, but I'm just as keen what I don't like. I don't like your jealousy. I don't like your insecurity. I don't like this. I don't like that. Nah, you too jealous. You too this. No, you're pretty, but you're insecure. You pretty. I'm a pastor. I gotta talk to women. No, no, you no, no. I'm not gonna be explaining to you why I'm talking to sister so and so every Sunday, especially with you right there in front of me. No, as long as I'm not giving you reasons to be insecure, as long as I'm not giving you reasons to be insecure, then you got to trust me. I'm not going to be explaining my authentic friends who happen to be female. No, so that kind of questioning and that kind of insecurity is stuff that I know I'm not going to be able to put up with. That's why whoever I marry, hey, this is so and so. Man, y'all become friends because you're gonna be my friend. You got to be her friend. Okay, there has to be. Okay, but anyway, but that takes a healing process because everybody is not living in that space of healing and that
Mhm.
space of personal accountability. And I want to talk to some people for this last 60 seconds.
Mhm.
And I want to speak prophetically into you. You have a desire for connection and relationship. You have a desire to be loved the right way. You have a desire to have the one that you believe God has made specifically for you. And this season sometimes can bring discouragement. This season sometimes can bring shame, embarrassment. Hear me. Love yourself enough to give yourself permission to wait for the right because it's too hard to get rid of the wrong. Give yourself permission to love you enough to not allow anybody into your space that will sabotage what God really has for you. Give yourself permission to sit in this season and enjoy and embrace the becoming of your Israel. And I speak life and fluidity into you and a peace that passes all understanding. My prayer for you tonight is that you write a letter to yourself outlining everything you want God to work on in you and giving God permission to deal with it so that when you connect with your person, when you connect, it will flow with the fluidity of a river flowing downstream. My prayer for you, my prayer for you is that on Friday you are not discouraged, you are not depressed, whether you get a flower or anything, that you know you love you and you know you are being prepared to be loved for the rest of your life. Yes, God's got something magnificent for you, and I cannot wait until you get it. I pray tonight was a blessing to you. I pray tonight, if you have been inspired, Lisa, I know anytime you get poured into, I really hope and pray that some people were blessed tonight. Um, Bishop, if you let me just flow prophetically just for a little bit, can you put the giving capacity on the stream on the stream tonight?
Mhm.
I, put the giving, every person who was poured into tonight, every person who was spoken to, and y'all have not seen me since September. I have not done live or anything. But tonight, I want us to sow tonight. If only if you heard your word. Do not allow Bishop to pour into you and you not sow tonight. Tonight, everybody who can get as close to a whole seed of $100. If 10 of us sow 100, 20 of us sow, I'm gonna sow mine. But I want us all tonight. We were in a space where we were poured into. If you were blessed tonight, there's Givelify. Everybody don't have Givelify. You got Cash App, Bishop. Let's do it the easy way. Let's
No,
do it
they
the
can
easy
do
way.
it through the website, the mbbc.org. Mm-hmm.
NBBD, NBB,
C.org.
the NBBC.org. Okay. If you don't have internet capacity and you cash at me, I'll make sure Bishop get it. But I want you to do it as simple and easy as possible. But I want at least 10 to 15 of us to sow $100. If you want us, however you want to sow it directly tonight, you will pour it into. It is my prayer that you do so tonight. Come on, New Bethlehem. Come on, real. Come on, family. Get as close to $100 as you can. Only though, if you were helped tonight. And if you were helped tonight, put in the comment section that I was blessed tonight and I was helped tonight. And I kept seeing people talking about part two, part two. Bishop, I'm going back into hiding. Y'all ain't gonna be out here having me. And I'm going back into transformation mode. I graduate. I got two graduations this year, one in May and one in September. I'm trying to lock in. But whenever you ask me, I'm gonna come for you.
I
So
don't intend to disappoint the people. They said they needed part two, so we'll have to check your calendar.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you all sow tonight. Make sure you all go sow right now. Tonight. Please. 10 of us, 15 of us, 20 of us, $100, as close to it as we can. Only if you were blessed. I love y'all. I'm
Well,
going back in time.
y'all help me thank Pastor Matthews for joining us tonight. What a blessing. He has been always a blessing to sit and chat with him. And we thank you for your transparency, and for really sitting with the Lord before you got on tonight, because I know that He gave you some things to say, and I know that they blessed um, a lot of people. So y'all make sure, um, put the hands in the chat to let him know how blessed you were. Also, if you want to connect with the MBBC, we are www.thembbc.org. You can click connect. You don't have to be in the Baltimore area. You can click connect with us virtually. And we will be back on Sunday at 10. No, we'll be back on tomorrow night for late night prayer. So catch us for late night prayer tomorrow night at 9 p.m. And then we will be on for worship at 10 a.m. and
Hey,
at
Nell.
12 p.m. Um, and then we will be back on here next Wednesday for couples edition of Let's Get Back to Love. We will announce very soon when Pastor Matthews will be back on with us for part two of this conversation, because there's a whole lot we could have said tonight that we didn't get into tonight. But we
Hold
certainly.
on. Bishop, let me say this. Let me say this, Bishop. I love you with all my heart. You know that. But ladies, let me say this. I preached a sermon last year. I did a whole series on it for the whole month of June. I just saw Marcus on here and Kristen can verify it. Did a whole sermon series called Men Like Flowers Too. And so
And on that note, I think we need to close out. Look at that. Look at that.
men
Look at that.
like flowers too. So just don't just wait for him to sing you something Friday. Men like flowers too. In Jesus' name. God bless you. I love you.
Good night,
I don't.
everybody.
I don't like this
So
face you're
much.
making. I don't. I don't like that face you're making. That's okay. All right.
That's that black woman face. That's that black woman. I don't need to say anything. Thank you,
Uh
thank you,
huh.
thank you. All right. Good night, everybody. We love you.
See y'all later. Can I go back in the hide now?